The rain had stopped an hour ago, but
Okay,
Union
watch your step,
Station
Mr.
still
Stable.
smelled like wet concrete
Just a
and
little
diesel
further,
fuel.
John.
Clear.
Jack Brennan
Corner.
stood with his back against a steel column watching the
No, no,
crowd flow
don't leave
past
me.
like a
Stay with
river
me,
that
please.
had
I'm so
forgotten where it was going.
tired.
Just a little longer. The
78
medics are
degrees in
coming. Hold
October.
on.
Philadelphia couldn't make up its mind about anything anymore. He was 68 years old. The leather cut he wore, black, weathered with the Hells Angels patch, faded from 2 decades of sun and road, hung loose on shoulders that used to fill it out. His hair, silver white and pulled back in a ponytail, was still thick. That was something. The scar on his
Get
left
away
cheek, a
from me!
souvenir from a bottle fight in 1981, caught the fluorescent light when he turned his head. Tommy Sullivan stood to his left, hands in his pockets, watching the departure board like it owed him money. 66 years old, built like a fire hydrant, with arms that looked like they'd been carved from oak and then left in a garage for 30 years. The burn scars on his right hand, white and twisted, were from a motorcycle fire in '89. He never talked about it. Ryder Holloway was reading a paperback, gold-rimmed glasses perched on his nose, looking more like a retired librarian than a man who'd spent 40 years as a Hells Angel enforcer. 70 years old. The oldest of them. The quietest. The most dangerous when he needed to be. "Train's delayed," Tommy said. His voice sounded like gravel in a cement mixer. 20 minutes. Jack nodded. 20 minutes. In 20 minutes, they'd be on the Atlantic City line headed to a reunion of old brothers. Men they hadn't seen in 5, 10, 15 years. The last ride reunion, they were calling it. Because at their age, every ride might be the last one. But that was 20 minutes away. Right now, in this moment, the station was just another place full of strangers moving past each other without seeing. A woman texted while walking. A businessman dragged a rolling suitcase that sounded like a broken skateboard. 2 kids ate pizza from grease-stained boxes. And then Jack saw her. An old woman. 70-something maybe. She wore a tan coat that looked like it had been purchased in 1985 and never replaced. Her purse, brown leather, cracked at the corners, hung from her shoulder on a strap she kept adjusting. She walked slowly, carefully, like someone who'd learned the hard way that one fall could mean 6 months in a hospital bed. 4 young men moved through the crowd toward her. Jack straightened. There was something in the way they moved. Purposeful, predatory, like wolves cutting a deer out of the herd. They wore hoodies. Black, gray, dark blue. Designer sneakers that probably cost $300. One of them, the leader, Jack could tell, had a scar that ran from his left ear to his chin. Fresh, maybe 6 months old. The old woman didn't see them coming. Jack took a step forward. "Jack," Tommy said. Not a question. A statement. He'd seen it too. The 4 young men surrounded the old woman. She stopped walking, looked up at them. Her mouth opened, but Jack couldn't hear what she said from 40 feet away. The leader, the one with the scar, leaned in close. His lips moved. The old woman shook her head. And then the leader put both hands on her chest and shoved. Hard. The old woman's feet left the ground. Her arms windmilled. Her purse flew off her shoulder and hit the tile floor with a sound like a gunshot. She fell backward toward the stairs. 8 concrete steps, leading down to the lower platform. Her head hit the 3rd step. The sound was wrong, wet and solid at the same time. The sound of a melon dropped on pavement. The sound of something breaking that couldn't be fixed. The crowd kept moving, stepping around her, looking but not stopping, not helping, just flowing past like water around a stone. Jack was already running, 68 years old. Bad knee from a motorcycle accident in '94. Lower back that screamed every morning when he got out of bed. But when he ran, none of that mattered. The Marines had taught him how to move 30 years ago, and muscle memory didn't retire just because you did. 20 feet, 15, 10. The 4 young men stood at the top of the stairs looking down at the old woman. They were laughing. The leader, the one with the scar, turned, saw Jack coming. His smile widened. "What you gonna do, old man?" he said. Break a Jack hit him in the solar plexus with a straight right hand. The punch traveled 6 inches. No wind-up, no telegraph. Just a piston strike to the center mass, right below the sternum, driving all the air out of the kid's lungs and sending his diaphragm into spasm. The kid's eyes went wide, his mouth open. No sound came out. He dropped to his knees, clutching his chest, trying to remember how breathing worked. Jack turned to the second one. This one was bigger. 6'2", maybe 220 pounds. He threw a haymaker right hand, the kind of punch you throw when you watch too many movies and never been in a real fight. Jack slipped it, stepped inside, drove his elbow into the kid's jaw. The kid's head snapped sideways. His legs forgot how to work. He went down like a puppet with cut strings. The third one pulled a knife. 4-inch blade. Folding knife probably bought at a gas station. He held it wrong point up like he was going to stab downward. The way people who've never used a knife think you're supposed to hold a knife. Tommy Sullivan materialized beside him. 6 feet of compact violence wrapped in a flannel shirt and leather vest. Tommy didn't say anything. Didn't need to. He grabbed the kid's wrist, twisted it backward until something popped and took the knife out of his hand like taking candy from a child. The kid screamed, hit the ground, clutched his wrist. The fourth one ran. Ryder Holloway stuck out his foot. The kid went down face first, skidded 3 feet on the tile floor. His nose made a crunching sound when it hit. 15 seconds. 4 men down. The crowd had stopped moving now. People stood in a loose circle, phones out recording. Always recording, never helping, just capturing content for their feeds. Jack knelt beside the old woman. Blood pooled under her head. Dark red, almost black in the harsh station lighting. Her eyes were open, but unfocused. Her lips moved, but no words came out. "Ma'am," Jack said. His voice was gentle, soft, the voice he'd used when Delilah woke up from nightmares in the last months before the cancer took her. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" The old woman's eyes found his face, focused. She nodded. "Just barely." "Don't move," Jack said. "You hit your head. We're going to get you help." Ryder was already on the phone with 911. His voice was calm, professional, giving the operator information in short, clear sentences. 30 years as an Army medic before he ever put on a patch. Some things you never forgot. Tommy stood over the 4 young men, tire iron in his hand. Not threatening, not aggressive. Just present. A reminder that if they decided to get up, there would be consequences. "You got a name?" Jack asked the old woman. Her lips moved. He leaned closer. "Evelyn," she whispered. "Evelyn Pritchard." "Okay, Evelyn. I'm Jack. You're going to be fine. You understand me? You're going to be fine." She tried to smile. It came out wrong, lopsided, like half her face wasn't getting the message. Jack's stomach went cold. Concussion. Maybe worse. Maybe a lot worse. Sirens in the distance. Getting closer. The leader, the one Jack had punched, was getting his breath back. He looked up at Jack with eyes full of hate and fear and something else. Something that looked like recognition. "You're dead, old man," he wheezed. "You hear me, dead?" Jack looked at him. Didn't blink, didn't move. "What's your name, son?" he asked. The kid sneered. Tyrell Banks. Remember it, 'cause I'm gonna remember yours." "I'll look forward to it," Jack said. The paramedics arrived, 2 of them young, efficient, moving with practiced coordination. They checked Evelyn's vitals, asked her questions, shined a light in her eyes. One of them, a woman maybe 30, with her hair pulled back in a tight bun, looked at Jack. "You with her?" she asked. "I am now," Jack said. They loaded Evelyn onto a stretcher. The woman paramedic looked at the blood on the stairs, then at the 4 young men Tommy was watching, then back at Jack. "What happened here?" she asked. "They pushed her," Jack said. "She fell." The paramedic's jaw tightened. She looked at Tyrell Banks. He stared back at her, still smirking, still defiant. "Police are coming," she said. "Good," Jack said. They wheeled Evelyn toward the ambulance. Jack followed. "Sir," the paramedic said. "Are you family?" "No," Jack said. "Then I can't let you ride with her." Jack looked at Evelyn. She was staring at him. Her hand moved, reaching for his. He took it. Her fingers were cold, trembling. "Please," she whispered. The paramedic looked at Jack, looked at Evelyn, sighed. "Fine," she said, "but stay out of the way." Jack climbed into the ambulance, sat on the bench opposite the stretcher, held Evelyn's hand while the paramedic worked checking blood pressure, starting an IV calling, ahead to Jefferson Hospital. Through the open doors, he could see Tommy and Ryder talking to a police officer, pointing at Tyrell and his crew. The officer was writing in a notebook, nodding. The doors closed. The ambulance started moving. Evelyn was crying, silent tears running down her wrinkled cheeks, cutting tracks through the blood and dirt. "Why?" she whispered. "Why did you help me?" Jack thought about that question. He thought about Delilah dead, 12 years her ashes in a wooden box on his mantle, because he couldn't bear to scatter them yet. He thought about all the times in his life when someone should have helped and didn't. All the times he should have helped and didn't. "Because someone should have helped when I couldn't," he said. Evelyn closed her eyes. Her grip on his hand tightened. The ambulance siren wailed. Philadelphia blurred past the windows, and Jack Brennan, 68 years old, retired Hell's Angel widower loner, found himself holding the hand of a stranger and meaning every word he'd said. Jefferson Hospital emergency room smelled like disinfectant and desperation. Jack sat in a plastic chair that was too small and too hard, watching doctors and nurses move past in their scrubs and their practiced efficiency. Somewhere down the hall, a man was screaming. Somewhere else, a baby was crying. The fluorescent lights hummed like angry insects. Ryder sat next to him, reading his paperback again. Tommy paced hands in his pocket's jaw, working like he was chewing on something bitter. "You should have let me hit that kid harder," Tommy said. "You broke his wrist," Ryder said, not looking up from his book. "Should have broken both of them." "Should have, would have, could have," Ryder said. "Ancient history now." A doctor emerged from the double doors. Young, dark-skinned, couldn't have been more than 35. She looked tired, like she'd been awake for 30 hours and had 30 more to go. "Family of Evelyn Pritchard," she called. Jack stood. "That's me." The doctor looked at him, at the leather cut, at the patch, at the silver hair and the scar, and the hands that looked like they'd broken more bones than they'd healed. "Your family?" she asked. "Close enough," Jack said. The doctor studied him for a moment, made a decision. "She has a concussion. Mild, thankfully. 3 cracked ribs. Laceration on the scalp, we put in 14 stitches. She's going to be in a lot of pain for a few weeks, but she'll recover." Jack let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. "Can I see her?" he asked. "She's asking for you," the doctor said. "Room 4 down the hall." Jack walked. His boots echoed on the linoleum. Tommy and Ryder followed at a distance, giving him space but staying close. Always close. That's what brothers did. Room 4 had a curtain instead of a door. Jack pushed it aside. Evelyn lay in the hospital bed, looking small and fragile against the white sheets. Someone had cleaned the blood off her face. The stitches on her scalp looked like black railroad tracks, disappearing into her gray hair. Her eyes were closed. Jack pulled up a chair, sat down, didn't say anything. Evelyn's eyes opened. "You came," she said. "Said I would. People say a lot of things. I'm not people." She smiled. A real smile this time, both sides of her face working together. "No," she said, "you're not." They sat in silence for a while. The hospital moved around them. Footsteps, voices, the beep of monitors, the hiss of ventilators. Life and death dancing together in the fluorescent light. "Do you have someone to call?" Jack asked. "Family, someone who should know you're here." Evelyn's smile faded. "No," she said. "My husband, Arthur, he died 4 years ago. Heart attack. We never had children. My sister lives in Oregon. We haven't spoken in 10 years. Friends. I had friends. But when you get old, your friends start dying, and then one day you wake up and realize you're the last one left." Jack knew that feeling. Knew it well. "What about you?" Evelyn asked. "Who did you cancel to be here?" "Atlantic City," Jack said. "Reunion. Old brothers from the club. Been planning it for 6 months. Evelyn's eyes widened. "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. You should go. You should—" "I'm exactly where I need to be," Jack said. "But your friends will understand. And if they don't, they're not really friends." Evelyn looked at him for a long time, studying his face like she was trying to memorize it. "You're a good man, Jack Brennan," she said. "I'm a man who did what needed doing," Jack said. "Nothing more." "That's more than most people," Evelyn said. The doctor came back. Said Evelyn needed to stay overnight for observation. Said someone needed to be there when she was discharged tomorrow. Said she couldn't go home alone. Not with a concussion. Not at her age. "I don't have anyone," Evelyn said quietly. Jack looked at Tommy, at Ryder. They were standing in the doorway listening. Tommy shrugged. "Atlantic City ain't going anywhere." Ryder closed his book. "I've got nothing but time." Jack turned back to Evelyn. "You do now," he said. The police came at 8 p.m. 2 detectives. One was a woman in her 40s, hard eyes, harder voice, dark hair pulled back tight. The other was a man in his 50s going gray at the temples, looking like he'd seen everything twice and believed none of it. They asked Evelyn questions. She answered. Yes, she'd been pushed. Yes, she could identify them. Yes, she wanted to press charges. They asked Jack questions. He answered. Yes, he'd intervened. Yes, he'd struck the assailants. No, he didn't regret it. The male detective, his nameplate said Morrison, looked at Jack's hands, at the scarred knuckles, at the calluses. "You hit that kid pretty hard," Morrison said. "Should have hit him harder," Jack said. "That's assault. That's self-defense of a third party. Check the cameras. Check the witnesses. I didn't throw the first punch. I threw the last one." Morrison smiled, thin, humorless. We reviewed the footage, he said. You're clear, but those 4 kids, they're connected. The one you hit, Tyrell Banks, he runs with the South Street crew. They're into drugs, extortion, assault. This isn't going to be the end of it. I'm not worried, Jack said. Maybe you should be, Morrison said. These aren't kids playing gangster. They're the real thing. And you embarrass them. In public. On camera. They're going to want payback. Let them come, Jack said. The female detective nameplate said Rivera spoke for the first time. Her voice had a slight accent. Puerto Rican, maybe. How old are you, Mr. Brennan? She asked. 68. And you think you can handle a gang of 20-year-olds coming after you? Jack looked at her. Didn't smile. Didn't blink. I was handling men like that when you were in diapers, detective. Age doesn't make you weak. It makes you precise. I don't need to be fast. I just need to be right. Rivera stared at him. Morrison chuckled. Good luck, old man, Morrison said. You're going to need it. They left. The curtains swished closed behind them. Evelyn was looking at Jack. Are you worried? She asked. No, Jack said. Why not? Because worry never stopped a fight from coming. All it does is make you tired before the fight starts. Evelyn thought about that. Your wife, she said. Delilah. What was she like? The question caught Jack off guard. He looked down at his hands, at the wedding band he still wore after 12 years. She was sunshine, he said finally, in a life that was mostly rain. How long were you married? 38 years? That's a long time. Not long enough, Jack said. Evelyn reached out, took his hand. Her fingers were warm now, steady. I understand, she said. Arthur and I had 42 years. He died in the kitchen, making coffee. 1 minute he was there, the next minute he was gone. No warning, no goodbye, just gone. Cancer, Jack said. Breast cancer. Stage 4 by the time they found it. We had 8 months. Every day I watched her get smaller, weaker, watched the light go out a little more. At the end, she weighed 90 pounds. She looked like a child. I'm sorry, Evelyn said. Me too, Jack said. They sat like that. 2 old people holding hands in a hospital room. 2 survivors of wars nobody else understood. 2 people who'd loved and lost and kept breathing anyway. Where do you live? Jack asked. South Philadelphia. Little apartment. I've been there 45 years. Alone. Alone. That's going to be a problem, Jack said. Doctor says you can't be alone for at least 2 weeks. Concussion protocol. Someone needs to check on you. Make sure you're eating. Make sure you don't fall. I'll be fine, Evelyn said. You'll be dead, Jack said. Or back in here with a cracked skull. I don't have anyone. You have me, Jack said. Evelyn stared at him. What? She said. You can stay at my place. 2 weeks. I've got a spare bedroom. Used to be, he stopped, cleared his throat. Used to be for guests, before Delilah died. Nobody's used it in 12 years. But it's clean, quiet. You'll have your own space. Mr. Brennan? Jack. Jack, I can't impose like that. You don't even know me. I know you got pushed down a flight of stairs by 4 punks who should have been taught better. I know you're 74 years old and you don't have anyone to call. I know you need help and I can give it. That's all I need to know. But why? Evelyn asked. Why would you do this for a stranger? Jack looked at her, at the stitches in her scalp, at the bruises forming on her arms, at the tears drying on her cheeks. Because nobody should be alone, he said, especially when they're hurting. Evelyn started crying again, soft, quiet tears. Okay, she whispered. Okay. Thank you. Jack's house sat on a narrow street in South Philadelphia, wedged between 2 others that looked exactly like it. Red brick, white trim, 3 steps up to a front door that needed painting. A small yard with grass that needed cutting. Tommy pulled his Harley to the curb. Ryder parked behind him. Jack carried Evelyn's bag. She'd asked a neighbor to pack some things and drop them off at the hospital while Evelyn walked slowly up the steps, one hand on the railing, moving like someone who'd learned the hard way that every step could be the one that broke you. Inside, the house smelled like old leather and motor oil and something else. Something faded. Something that used to be lavender perfume but was now just a memory. Evelyn stood in the living room looking around. Photos everywhere, on the walls, on the mantle, on the bookshelf, all of the same woman. Beautiful, dark hair, green eyes, smile that could light up a room. Delilah, Evelyn said softly. Yeah, Jack said. She was beautiful. She was everything. Evelyn walked to the mantle, picked up one of the photos. Delilah in a summer dress, laughing, hands up to block the camera. You must miss her terribly, Evelyn said. Every day, Jack said. He showed Evelyn the spare bedroom. Small. Clean. A bed that hadn't been slept in for over a decade. A window that looked out on the backyard. A closet with empty hangers. It's perfect, Evelyn said. Tommy and Ryder said goodnight. Promised to check in tomorrow. Roared off into the night on their Harleys, the sound of their engines echoing off the narrow street. Jack made tea. Earl Grey, the way Delilah used to make it. He brought 2 cups to the living room. Evelyn sat on the couch studying the photographs on the bookshelf. Not touching them now, just looking. How long have you lived here? She asked. 35 years, Jack said. Bought it in '88. Me and Delilah. Supposed to fix it up. Never got around to it. It has character, Evelyn said. It has problems, Jack said. Roof leaks. Furnace is older than I am. Kitchen hasn't been updated since Carter was president. But it's home. It's where I keep Delilah's things, Jack said. I don't know if that's the same thing. They drank tea in silence. The house settled around them, old wood creaking, pipes ticking, the sound of a life lived alone. Can I ask you something? Evelyn said. Go ahead. What did you do before you retired? Jack smiled. What makes you think I'm retired? You don't work. You spend your afternoons at train stations planning trips with your friends. That's retired. I fix motorcycles, Jack said. Classic Harleys, restorations. People bring me bikes that are 40, 50 years old. More rust than metal. I make them run again. And before that, Jack was quiet for a moment. I was a Marine, he said. 22 years. Joined in '71. Got out in '93. Did 2 tours. Saw some things. Did some things. Came home different than I left. Gulf War, Evelyn asked. Yeah. Arthur was a cop, Evelyn said. NYPD. 32 years. He saw things too. He used to wake up at night, sweating, shaking. Never wanted to talk about it. Some things you can't talk about, Jack said. And after the Marines, I was with the club. Hell's Angels, 15 years. That was complicated. Complicated how? Jack looked at his hands, at the scars, at the knuckles that had healed wrong too many times. I wasn't always a good man, Mrs. Pritchard, he said quietly. I did things I'm not proud of. Hurt people who maybe didn't deserve it. Broke laws. Made enemies. The only good thing in all of it was Delilah. She saw something in me I didn't see in myself. She made me want to be better. And when she got sick, I walked away from the club, turned in my patch, retired, because she was dying, and I wanted to spend every minute I had left with her being the man she believed I was. Evelyn set down her teacup, reached over, put her hand on his. You saved my life today, she said. I don't care who you used to be. I care who you are. Jack didn't know what to say to that, so he didn't say anything. They sat like that. 2 strangers who'd become something more in the space of 6 hours. 2 people bound by violence and kindness in equal measure. You should get some rest, Jack said finally. Doctor said you need to sleep elevated. Extra pillows are in the closet. Thank you, Jack, Evelyn said, for everything. She stood, walked to the guest bedroom, stopped at the door. Jack, she said. Yeah. I'm glad you were at that train station today. Me too, Jack said. She closed the door. Jack sat alone in the living room, surrounded by photos of Delilah drinking cold tea, wondering what the hell he'd gotten himself into. His phone buzzed. Text from Tommy. You did good today, brother. Jack smiled, typed back. We did good. Another buzz, this time from Ryder. The old man still got it. Jack set down his phone, looked at the photo of Delilah on the mantel, the one where she was laughing, always laughing. I think you'd like her, he said to the photo. Evelyn, she's tough, stubborn, doesn't take shit from anyone. Reminds me of you. The photo didn't answer. It never did. Jack finished his tea, checked the locks on the doors, checked the windows. Old habits. From the Marines. From the club. From a life spent knowing that safety was an illusion and preparation was the only prayer that worked. He went to his bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, the same bed he'd shared with Delilah for 38 years. The same bed where she died, holding his hand, whispering that she loved him, asking him to be happy. He hadn't been happy since, but today, for the first time in 12 years, he'd felt something close. Not happiness, but purpose, direction. A reason to get up tomorrow that wasn't just habit. Jack lay back, closed his eyes, listened to the house settle. Down the hall in the guest bedroom, Evelyn Pritchard did the same. 2 strangers, under the same roof, bound together by violence and chance and something else. Something neither of them had words for yet. Outside, the city moved through its night, Cars passed. Sirens wailed in the distance. The world kept turning indifferent and infinite. And in a small red brick house on a narrow street in South Philadelphia, two old people who thought they'd finished living discovered that some stories don't end. They just changed chapters. Morning came through dirty windows, turning the living room gray and gold. Jack had been awake since 5, the way he'd been waking up for 50 years. Old habits, marine habits. The kind that never left even when everything else did. He made coffee in the kitchen. The pot was the same one Delilah had used. 20 years old, held together with duct tape and stubbornness. He tried to replace it once. Lasted 2 days before he pulled the old one back out. Some things you didn't replace. Some things you kept until they stopped working, and then you kept them anyway. He heard movement upstairs, slow, careful. The sound of someone in pain trying not to show it. Evelyn appeared in the doorway wearing a robe that had probably been Arthur's. Too big in the shoulders. She moved like someone navigating a minefield, every step measured, every breath calculated. "Morning," Jack said. "Good morning." Her voice was rough, dry. "What time is it?" 6:30. "You wake up this early every day. Every day for 50 years. Evelyn eased herself into a chair at the kitchen table. Winced when she sat. The ribs. They'd hurt worse today than yesterday. Injuries always did. Jack poured 2 cups of coffee, set one in front of her, black. He didn't have cream, didn't have sugar, just coffee the way God and the Marine Corps intended. "Thank you," Evelyn said. They drank in silence. Outside, the neighborhood was waking up. Garbage trucks, car engines, a dog barking 3 houses down. "How do you feel?" Jack asked. "Like I got pushed down a flight of stairs." "That bad. Worse. But I'm breathing. That's something." Jack nodded. Breathing was always something. "I need to go out today," Evelyn said. "My apartment. I have things I need to get. I can get them for you. You don't know what I need. So tell me." Evelyn shook her head. "I need to do this myself. I've been taking care of myself for 4 years. I'm not about to stop now." Jack recognized that tone, that stubborn, steel-edged determination. Delilah had it. Used it when the cancer got bad and the doctors wanted to put her in hospice, and she'd refused, insisted on dying at home in her own bed on her own terms. "Fine," Jack said, "but I'm driving, and if you fall over, I'm catching you." "Deal." They finished their coffee. Evelyn went to get dressed. Jack waited in the living room looking at photos of Delilah, wondering if he was doing the right thing. Wondering if helping this old woman was really about her, or if it was about the old woman he couldn't help 12 years ago when the cancer was eating her alive, and all he could do was hold her hand and watch. Evelyn came back wearing the same tan coat from yesterday. Someone had cleaned the blood off. Must have been the neighbor who packed her bag. Jack grabbed his keys, led her out to the driveway where his truck sat. A 1987 Ford F-150. Blue, rusted around the wheel wells. 240,000 miles on the odometer. Still ran like the day he bought it. "This is your truck?" Evelyn asked. "You were expecting a Harley?" "Honestly, yes. I save the Harley for when I want to feel young. The truck is for when I need to feel useful." He opened the passenger door for her. She climbed in, moving slow, holding her ribs. Jack closed the door, walked around, got in. The engine started with a cough and a rumble. Black smoke from the exhaust. The heater didn't work. The radio was stuck on AM, but it drove, and that was all that mattered. "Where to?" Jack asked. Evelyn gave him an address. South Philadelphia, 10 minutes away. They drove through morning traffic, past corner stores with roll-down gates, past row houses with American flags in the windows, past empty lots where buildings used to be. "I've lived in this neighborhood 60 years, Evelyn said. "Watched it change, get better, get worse, get better again. Now I don't know what it is." "It's home," Jack said. "Is it? Or is it just the place where all my memories are?" Jack didn't have an answer for that. Evelyn's building was a 3-story brownstone that had seen better decades. The front steps were cracked. The door needed paint. Graffiti on the wall next to the mailboxes. Jack parked, helped Evelyn out of the truck. She moved toward the building, then stopped. "Something wrong?" Jack asked. Evelyn was staring at the door. At something Jack couldn't see. "The lock," she said. "It's different." Jack looked closer. New deadbolt, shiny, chrome, the kind you installed when you didn't want someone getting in, or when you wanted to keep someone out. Evelyn pulled out her keys, tried them in the lock. They didn't fit. "That son of a bitch," she whispered. "Who?" "My landlord. Marcus Delgado. He changed the locks. Jack felt something cold settle in his chest. When? Must have been yesterday, while I was in the hospital. That's illegal. That's Marcus. Jack tried the door. Locked solid. He looked at the windows. Bars on the first floor. None on the second, but that was 20 feet up. You have a lease, he asked. 6 months left on it. I'm paid through March. Then he can't lock you out. That's illegal eviction. You call the cops, they'll make them let you in. The cops won't do anything, Evelyn said. Marcus has friends, pays them off. I've seen it before with other tenants. What other tenants? Evelyn looked at Jack. Her eyes were hard now, angry. Marcus bought this building 18 months ago. There were 12 tenants, old people, people who'd lived here 30, 40 years. Marcus wanted them out, wanted to renovate, triple the rent. But we had leases, legal protections. So he started making life difficult. Shut off heat in winter, let the roof leak, hired thugs to intimidate us. One by one, people left. Now there's only 3 of us left. Me, Harold upstairs, Betty across the hall. And those 4 kids yesterday, Jack said. The ones who pushed you. They work for Marcus. I recognize one of them, Tyrell. He's been hanging around the building for weeks, threatening people, breaking car windows. That's why he pushed me. Marcus wanted me scared, wanted me to leave. Jack looked at the building, at the new lock, at the bars on the windows, at the whole setup. You got a phone number for Marcus? He asked. Why? Because I'm going to have a conversation with him. Evelyn grabbed Jack's arm. Don't, please. He's dangerous. He's connected. If you make trouble, it'll only get worse. It's already worse, Jack said. You're locked out of your own home. Your ribs are broken. Your head's split open. How much worse does it need to get? Evelyn didn't answer. Jack pulled out his phone. Number. Evelyn gave it to him. Jack dialed. It rang 4 times. Then a voice. Male, young, arrogant. Yeah, Marcus Delgado. Who's asking? Jack Brennan. I'm calling about Evelyn Pritchard. You changed the locks on her apartment? Silence on the other end, then laughter. Oh, you're the old biker who beat up my boys yesterday. Tyrell told me about you. Then you know I don't make empty threats. Neither do I, old man. Evelyn's done. She doesn't live here anymore. Building's being renovated. She can come pick up her stuff when I'm ready to let her. She has a lease. And I have lawyers. Good luck. The line went dead. Jack stood there, phone in his hand, feeling something old and familiar wake up in his chest. Something he'd put to sleep 12 years ago when Delilah died. Something violent and righteous and very, very angry. Jack, Evelyn said. What did he say? He said, come back later. That's it. That's all he's going to say on the phone. Jack walked back to the truck, opened the door, reached under the seat, pulled out a tire iron. What are you doing? Evelyn asked. Getting your things. You can't break in. That's not breaking in, Jack said. You live here. You have a lease. That door is illegally locked. I'm helping a tenant access her legal residence. Any lawyer worth a damn would call this assistance not trespassing. He walked back to the door, wedged the tire iron between the door and the frame, leaned his weight into it. The wood groaned, splintered. The lock held for maybe 5 seconds. Then the frame gave way and the door swung open. Jack stepped inside. Evelyn followed, moving carefully, holding her ribs. The hallway smelled like mildew and old cooking grease. Stairs leading up. 3 doors on the first floor. One of them had Evelyn's name on a piece of tape next to the buzzer. That door was locked too. Same new deadbolt. Jack used the tire iron again, faster this time. He knew the weak points now, knew where to apply pressure. The door opened with a crack like a gunshot. Evelyn's apartment was small. 1 bedroom, kitchen barely big enough to turn around in. Living room with furniture that looked older than Jack, but it was clean, organized. Photos on the walls, Arthur in his NYPD uniform. Evelyn when she was young, beautiful, smiling at a camera that probably didn't exist anymore. Home, Evelyn said softly. Jack gave her space, let her move through the rooms, touching things, remembering. He looked around, saw what Marcus probably saw. Old building, old tenant, prime real estate in a neighborhood coming back to life. Money to be made if you could just get rid of the people who thought they had a right to stay. Jack had seen this before, in the club. Business owners who wouldn't pay protection, store owners who wouldn't sell, people who stood in the way of money and power and got crushed for it. He'd been on both sides of it. He wasn't proud of that. Evelyn came out of the bedroom carrying a small suitcase. I need my medications, some clothes. Arthur's watch, a few photos. Take your time. She moved slowly through the apartment, gathering things. Jack watched, noticed she spent the most time in the bedroom, looking at the bed, the closet, the window that looked out on an alley. We had 42 years in this place, she said. Raised no children because we couldn't. But we had each other. That was enough. More than enough. Jack understood. He and Delilah had 38 years. No children either. Just each other. And when she was gone, the house became a museum. A place to keep her things. Not a place to live, just a place to exist. Evelyn packed the suitcase, closed it. Looked around one more time. Ready? Jack asked. No, she said. But let's go anyway. They walked out. Jack pulled the broken door closed behind them. It wouldn't lock, wouldn't keep anyone out. But maybe that was the point. In the hallway, another door opened. An old man stepped out, 80-something, white hair, thick glasses. He moved with a cane, but there was steel in his posture. Military steel. Evelyn, he said. That, you, Harold, Evelyn said. Yes, it's me. The old man Harold looked at Jack, at the tire iron, at the broken door behind them. Marcus changed your locks too? Harold asked. Yesterday, Evelyn said. Harold nodded. Changed mine last week. I broke in. He called the cops. They didn't do anything. Told me to settle it in civil court. He laughed, bitter. Civil court? Like I can afford a lawyer on Social Security. How long you lived here? Jack asked. 53 years, Harold said. Moved in after Korea. Been here ever since. Korea, Jack said. Army. Marines. 1st Marine Division. Chosen Reservoir. Jack straightened. Semper Fi. Harold's eyes sharpened. You, 22 years. Got out in 93. Harold smiled. The kind of smile warriors share when they recognize each other. Well, I'll be damned, Harold said. Another jarhead. You helping Evelyn? Trying to. Good. Someone should. Marcus is a punk. His thugs are punks. This whole thing is wrong. How many people has he pushed out? Jack asked. 9 so far. All old. All on fixed incomes. All people who've lived here longer than Marcus has been alive. Now there's just me, Evelyn, and Betty downstairs. We're the last 3. Betty, Jack asked. Betty Washington, 78, widow. Husband was a firefighter. Died in the line of duty 1989. She's got nowhere else to go. This building is all she has. Jack looked at Evelyn, at Harold, at the broken doors and the new locks and the whole rotten system. I need to make some calls, he said. They got back in the truck, drove to Jack's house. Jack helped Evelyn inside with her suitcase. She went to the guest room. He heard the door close, heard the bed creak, imagined her lying there staring at the ceiling, wondering how her life had come to this. Jack pulled out his phone, called Tommy. Yeah, Tommy's voice was rough, still asleep. I need you and Ryder to come over. When? Now. What's wrong? Everything, Jack said. 30 minutes later, Tommy and Ryder sat at Jack's kitchen table, drinking coffee, listening to Jack explain. Marcus Delgado, the illegal evictions, the changed locks, Tyrell Banks and the South Street crew. So let me get this straight, Tommy said. This landlord is pushing out old people so he can flip the building and make money. That's it, Jack said. And when they wouldn't leave, he hired thugs to scare them. Right. And one of those thugs pushed Evelyn down the stairs. Yes, Tommy leaned back, crossed his arms. And you want to do what exactly? I want to stop him. How? I don't know yet. Ryder spoke for the first time. His voice was quiet, calm. The voice of a man who'd seen worse and lived to be bored by it. We could kill him, Ryder said. Jack and Tommy both looked at him. What? Ryder said. I'm just putting it on the table. Quick, clean. Problem solved. We're not killing anyone, Jack said. Why not? He's a predator. He's hurting old people. The system won't stop him. So we stop him. Permanently. Because that's not who we are anymore, Jack said. Speak for yourself, Ryder said. Tommy rubbed his face. Okay, if we're not killing him, what's the play? Jack thought about that. He thought about Marcus Delgado. Young, arrogant, connected. The kind of man who thought money and violence could solve anything. We make him more afraid of us than we are of him, Jack said. How? Tommy asked. The old way, Jack said. We show up. We apply pressure. We make it clear that hurting Evelyn, hurting Harold, hurting Betty comes with a cost he's not willing to pay. You're talking about intimidation, Tommy said. I'm talking about justice, Jack said. Ryder smiled. I like it. Tommy sighed. All right, I'm in. But if this goes sideways, it won't, Jack said. You don't know that. I know that if we don't do something, 3 old people are going to lose their homes, and I'm not going to sit here and let that happen. Tommy nodded. Okay, when do we move? Tonight, Jack said. The day passed slowly. Evelyn stayed in the guest room most of the afternoon. Jack heard her moving around, heard drawers opening and closing, heard her crying once soft and brief like she was ashamed of it. He wanted to knock, wanted to ask if she was okay, but he knew better. Some grief needed privacy. At 4 o'clock, she emerged. She changed clothes, put on makeup, tried to look normal. It almost worked. I made dinner, Jack said. If you're hungry, you cook. I heat things up. There's a difference. She smiled, sat at the table. Jack brought over 2 plates, spaghetti, store-bought sauce, garlic bread from a bag. Nothing special, but it was hot, and it was food, and that was something. They ate in silence, the kind of comfortable silence that usually took years to build. But trauma accelerated things. Shared pain was its own language. Thank you, Evelyn said finally. For what? For not asking if I'm okay. Are you? No, but I will be. Jack nodded. That was all anyone could promise. Not happiness, not peace. Just eventual okayness. I heard you on the phone earlier, Evelyn said. Making plans with your friends. Yeah. What kind of plans? Jack set down his fork. Looked at her. The kind where we make sure Marcus Delgado understands that you're under protection now. Him and his thugs, they touch you, they touch Harold, they touch Betty, they answer to us. Jack, you can't. I can, and I will. This isn't your fight. You're in my house. You're drinking my coffee. You're eating my terrible spaghetti. That makes it my fight. Evelyn stared at him. Her eyes were wet. Why? She whispered. Why do you care so much? Jack thought about that question. Really thought about it. Because 12 years ago, my wife was dying, he said slowly, and I couldn't do anything about it. Couldn't fight it. Couldn't stop it. Couldn't save her. All I could do was watch. And it broke something in me. Made me feel useless. Powerless. But this I can do something about. This I can fight. This I can stop. So that's what I'm going to do. Evelyn reached across the table, took his hand. Delilah was a lucky woman, she said. I was the lucky one, Jack said. Night came. Jack, Tommy, and Ryder met in Jack's garage. The space was cluttered with motorcycle parts tools and the smell of motor oil. In the corner sat Jack's Harley, a 1998 Road King, black and chrome, engine rebuilt twice, more miles than some people's cars. So what's the plan? Tommy asked. We find Marcus, Jack said. We have a conversation. What kind of conversation? The kind where we make our position clear. Ryder pulled out his phone. I've got an address for Marcus Delgado. Lives in a condo. Fishtown. Nice place. Probably paid for by all the old people he's been screwing. Then that's where we're going, Jack said. They mounted their bikes. Ryder rode a Softail. Tommy had a Dyna. 3 Harleys, 3 old men, 3 decades of experience doing exactly this kind of thing. The engines roared to life. The sound echoed off the garage walls, loud, primal, the sound of thunder on wheels. They rode through Philadelphia, past Center City, through Northern Liberties, into Fishtown where old warehouses had been converted into expensive lofts and craft breweries served $12 beers to people who thought they were edgy. Marcus Delgado's building was all glass and steel, modern, soulless, the kind of place that looked good in photos and felt empty in person. They parked across the street, killed the engines. The sudden silence was thick. Now what? Tommy asked. Now we wait, Jack said. They waited an hour, 2 hours. Jack was good at waiting. The Marines had taught him that. War was 90% waiting and 10% terror. At 9:30, Marcus Delgado emerged from the building. Jack recognized him from the description. Mid-40s, expensive suit, hair slicked back, walking like he owned the sidewalk, because in his mind he probably did. Marcus walked to a black Mercedes, clicked the key fob. The lights flashed. Jack, Tommy, and Ryder crossed the street. Marcus saw them coming. Stopped. His hand moved toward his pocket. I wouldn't, Jack said. Marcus froze, looked at the 3 old men in leather cuts, at the patches, at the scars and the gray hair, and the eyes that had seen worse things than him. Who the hell are you? Marcus said. Friends of Evelyn Pritchard, Jack said. Marcus's face changed. Recognition. Then anger. You're the old man who broke my door. And you're the landlord who changed the illegal locks. Get lost, old man, before I call the cops. Go ahead, Jack said. Call them. Tell them you illegally evicted 3 elderly tenants. See how that goes." Marcus laughed. "You think I'm scared of cops? I own cops." "Maybe," Jack said, "but you don't own me." He took a step closer. Marcus backed up, hit the car. "Here's how this is going to work," Jack said. His voice was quiet, calm, more dangerous than shouting. "You're going to restore Evelyn's locks, Harold's locks, Betty's locks. You're going to honor their leases. And you're going to call off Tyrell Banks and whatever other thugs you've hired." "Or what?" "Or we come back," Jack said, "and next time we won't be this polite." Marcus tried to smile. It came out wrong. Nervous. "You're threatening me. You know who I am, who I'm connected to." "I know exactly who you are," Jack said. "You're a bully who picks on old people because they can't fight back. You're a coward with money who thinks that makes you powerful. And you're about to learn that some people don't give a damn about your connections." Tommy stepped forward, cracked his knuckles. The sound was like breaking wood. Ryder just smiled, that calm, empty smile that was somehow worse than any threat. Marcus looked at the three of them, calculated, made a decision. "Fine," he said. "Fine, I'll back off. Just stay away from me." "Glad we understand each other," Jack said. They walked back to their bikes, mounted up, started the engines. As they pulled away, Jack looked back. Marcus was on his phone, talking fast, angry. "That's not over," Tommy said. "I know," Jack said. "He's going to come back at us. Let him." They rode home through the night. The city blurred past. Lights and sound and the endless movement of a place that never slept. When Jack got home, Evelyn was waiting in the living room. She looked up when he came in. "Did you find him?" she asked. "Yeah." "What happened?" "We talked. He agreed to back off." Evelyn studied his face. "You're lying." "I'm simplifying." "Jack, it's handled, Evelyn. You don't need to worry." But she was worrying. He could see it in her eyes. That fear, that certainty that violence only bred more violence. She was right, of course. But sometimes right didn't matter. Sometimes all that mattered was keeping the people you cared about safe, even if it meant becoming the thing you'd spent 12 years trying not to be. Jack went to bed that night thinking about Delilah, about the promise he'd made to her before she died, to be good, to be better, to leave the violence behind. He'd broken that promise tonight, but he'd kept another one, the one about not standing by while someone got hurt. In the grand ledger of his soul, he didn't know which promise weighed more. He fell asleep hoping Delilah would understand, knowing she probably wouldn't, but doing it anyway, because that's what love was, keeping promises to the dead, even when it meant breaking them. 3 days passed, quiet days. Evelyn moved through Jack's house like a ghost learning to haunt in reverse, becoming more solid with each passing hour. She cooked breakfast. Jack protested. She ignored him. Scrambled eggs and toast appeared on the table every morning at 7, and Jack found himself eating home-cooked food for the first time in years. On the 4th day, everything changed. Jack was in the garage rebuilding a carburetor for a 1974 shovelhead when his phone rang. Unknown number. "Yeah," he answered. Heavy breathing on the other end. Then a voice. Female. Old. Terrified. "Mr. Brennan, this is Betty Washington. Harold gave me your number." Jack set down his wrench. "What's wrong?" "They came back. Marcus's men. 6 of them. They broke Harold's windows. Spray-painted threats on my door. They said if we're not out by Friday, they're going to burn the building down." "Oh." Jack felt ice form in his chest. "Where are you now?" "In my apartment. I locked the door, but I can hear them outside. They're still there." "Stay inside. Lock everything. I'm coming." He hung up, ran into the house. Evelyn was folding laundry in the living room. "What's wrong?" she asked, seeing his face. "Marcus sent his crew back. They're threatening Harold and Betty." Evelyn's hand went to her mouth. "Oh, God." Jack was already dialing Tommy, then Ryder. Quick conversations, clipped sentences. "Address, now, come armed." He went to his bedroom, opened the closet, reached behind the winter coats to a lockbox bolted to the wall. Spun the combination. Inside a Colt 1911. Government issue. The same pistol he'd carried in the Gulf. He'd sworn he'd never touch it again after Delilah died. He loaded it now. Evelyn appeared in the doorway, saw the gun. "Jack, no, please, call the police." "The police won't do anything. You said so yourself." "Then call someone else. The FBI. Anyone, but don't do this." Jack looked at her, at this woman he'd known for 4 days, this stranger who'd become something more than that, something he didn't have words for yet. "I'm not going to let them hurt Harold and Betty," he said quietly. I'm not going to stand by and watch while bullies terrorize old people. I did that once, a long time ago. I stood by and did nothing when I should have acted. I won't make that mistake again. What happened? Evelyn asked. When you stood by, Jack was quiet for a moment, the gun heavy in his hand, the weight of memory heavier. Fallujah, 1991, after the ceasefire, there was a family, Iraqi, father, mother, 3 kids. Some local thugs were shaking them down, wanted money, food. The father didn't have anything to give. My CO said it wasn't our problem, stay out of local disputes. So I did. I followed orders, stood by, watched. 3 days later, we found that family dead. Executed, all of them, even the kids. Evelyn's eyes filled with tears. I swore that day I'd never stand by again, Jack said. When someone needs help, you help, period. Orders be damned, rules be damned, you help. He walked past her, out to the garage, mounted his Harley. Tommy and Ryder arrived 5 minutes later. Both armed, Tommy with a shotgun, Ryder with a pistol, and the kind of calm that came from doing this exact thing 100 times before. We going to war? Tommy asked. We're going to end one, Jack said. They rode, 3 Harleys through afternoon traffic. South Philadelphia in October, the sun was setting early, turning the brick row houses golden amber. It would have been beautiful if Jack had been capable of seeing beauty right now. All he saw was the road, the destination, the thing that needed doing. Evelyn's building came into view. Jack saw them immediately. 6 young men, hoodies and baggy jeans, standing in front of the building like they owned it. One held a baseball bat, another had a crowbar. The rest just had youth in numbers and the kind of stupid confidence that came from never being punched in the mouth by someone who knew how. Tyrell Banks stood in the center. The scar on his face had healed badly. It would mark him forever. Good. The Harleys pulled to the curb, engines cut. The sudden silence was loud. Tyrell saw them, recognized Jack. His smile was all teeth and venom. Look who came back, Tyrell said. The old man who thinks he's hard. Jack dismounted. Tommy and Ryder flanked him. 3 old men against 6 young ones. The math didn't favor experience. But math had never been good at accounting for violence. You need to leave, Jack said. Tyrell laughed. Or what? You gonna hit me again? Go ahead, old man. I got friends now. 6 on 3. You do the math. I did, Jack said. Math says you leave now, you leave walking. You stay, you leave in ambulances. One of Tyrell's crew stepped forward. Bigger than the rest, 6'4", 250, tattoos crawling up his neck. You threatening us, the big one said. I'm giving you a choice, Jack said. The big one swung the baseball bat, fast, aimed at Jack's head. Jack moved faster. 68 years old, and his body remembered things his mind had tried to forget. He ducked under the swing, stepped inside the big man's reach, drove his fist into the soft spot just below the ribcage. Liver shot. The kind that dropped you like someone cut your power. The big man folded, went down. The bat clattered on the pavement. Tyrell pulled a knife. Tommy was already moving. The shotgun came up, not aimed at anyone, just visible, present. A promise of escalation nobody wanted. Put it down, kid, Tommy said. Tyrell hesitated. Ryder spoke. His voice was soft, almost kind. Son, I was killing people before your parents were born. You really want to see how this ends? Tyrell looked at the 3 old men, at his crew, at the big one still gasping on the ground, at the math that had suddenly stopped making sense. He put the knife away. Marcus isn't going to like this, Tyrell said. Then tell Marcus to come talk to me himself, Jack said. I'm tired of dealing with children. A voice from above. Mr. Brennan? Jack looked up. Harold stood at a second-floor window. The glass was broken, cardboard taped over it. You okay, Harold? Jack called. Better now, Harold said. Another window opened. Ground floor, Betty Washington, 78 years old, silver hair, eyes that had seen her husband die in a burning building and kept living anyway. Thank you, she called down. Thank you for coming. Jack nodded to her. Looked back at Tyrell. You tell Marcus this is his last warning. He leaves these people alone, or next time I don't show up to talk. Tyrell backed away. His crew followed. They walked fast, not quite running, but close. The big one with the bat struggled to his feet, stumbled after them, holding his side, every breath agony. Tommy lowered the shotgun. That was stupid. Probably, Jack said. Could have gotten us killed. Could have. Worth it. Jack looked up at Harold, at Betty, At these two old people who'd spent their whole lives playing by the rules and got punished for it anyway. Yeah, Jack said. Worth it. They went inside. Harold came down from his apartment. Betty opened her door. They met in the hallway that smelled like old lives and new fear. Harold shook Jack's hand. Strong grip. Marine grip. Semper Fi, brother, Harold said. Semper Fi. Betty hugged Jack. Brief. Awkward. The kind of hug from someone who wasn't used to touching strangers. But it was real. I didn't think anyone was coming, she said. I called the police. They said they'd send someone. That was 3 hours ago. The police aren't coming, Ryder said. Then what do we do? Betty asked. Good question. Jack didn't have a good answer. They sat in Betty's apartment. Small, crowded with 40 years of accumulated life. Photos on every surface. Her husband in his firefighter uniform, young, smiling. Dead 33 years. Marcus is going to keep coming, Harold said. Today was bad. Tomorrow will be worse. Then we need to end this, Jack said. How? Betty asked. Jack thought about that, about Marcus Delgado, about men like him, bullies with money, predators who operated just inside the law, untouchable, protected. We need evidence, Jack said, something that proves what he's doing, something we can take to the FBI. Real charges, federal charges. What kind of evidence, Harold asked. Recordings, documents, proof of the illegal evictions, the threats, the violence. How do we get that? Betty asked. Ryder smiled. That empty smile that meant he was already 3 steps ahead. We make Marcus think he's won, Ryder said. We make him sloppy, confident. And when people get confident, they talk. And when they talk, we record. Tommy nodded slowly. A sting. Exactly, Ryder said. Jack looked at Harold and Betty. You willing to help? What do you need us to do? Harold asked. Call Marcus. Tell him you're ready to leave. You'll sign whatever he wants, but you need him to meet you, in person, to handle the paperwork. He won't come, Betty said. He's too smart for that. He'll come if we give him the right bait, Jack said. What bait? Jack thought about it. About what Marcus wanted. About what would make him take the risk. Tell him you'll sign over your leases for cash, Jack said. 10,000 each. Under the table. No lawyers. Quick and clean. Harold whistled. That's a lot of money. It's nothing compared to what he'll make when he flips this building, Jack said. And the cash offer makes it look like you're desperate, broke, willing to take anything just to get out. He'll love that. Betty nodded. When? Tonight, Jack said, before he has time to think about it. Betty made the call. Jack listened. She was good, played the part perfectly. Scared old woman, defeated, willing to take whatever crumbs were offered. Marcus took the bait. He'd meet them tomorrow night, 9 p.m. at the building, bring the cash, they'd sign. Everyone walks away happy. Betty hung up, looked at Jack. Now what? She asked. Now we set the trap, Jack said. They spent the rest of the evening preparing. Ryder was former military intelligence. He knew surveillance, knew recording, knew how to make people hang themselves with their own words. He planted 3 microphones in Betty's apartment, hidden, professional, the kind the FBI used. He set up a camera in the hallway, another in the living room, disguised as smoke detectors. Old building like this, nobody would look twice. We need to get him talking, Ryder said. Not just about the buyout, about everything. The other evictions, the threats, Tyrell and his crew, everything. How do we do that? Betty asked. You ask questions, Ryder said. Play dumb. Act like you don't understand. Make him explain. Criminals love to explain. It makes them feel smart, superior. And when they feel superior, they confess. They rehearsed. Betty and Harold practiced their lines, where to stand, what to say, how to guide the conversation. Jack watched them. 2 old people who'd spent their lives being good citizens, following rules, trusting the system, now learning to work outside it because the system had failed them. It made him angry, that bone-deep, righteous anger that had no outlet except action. They finished at midnight. Tommy and Ryder went home. Jack stayed, sat with Harold and Betty, drinking coffee that Betty made too strong, eating cookies she'd baked that afternoon because when you're nervous, you bake. You ever kill anyone? Harold asked suddenly. Jack looked at him, at this old Marine who'd seen Chosen, who knew what that question really meant. Yes, Jack said. Gulf War. Yeah. How many? I stopped counting after the first year. Harold nodded. Korea was like that. First week I counted, kept track, like it mattered, like there was some number that would make sense of it. After a while, I stopped. They were just targets, just things that needed to stop moving. You ever get over it? No, Jack said. Me neither, Harold said. They sat in silence. Two old warriors, 40 years and two wars apart, but brothers anyway. Betty looked at both of them. I'm glad you're here, both of you. I don't know what I would have done if you hadn't come. You would have survived, Jack said. You're tougher than you think. I'm not tough. I'm just old. There's a difference. No, Jack said. There's not. Jack rode home at 1 a.m. The city was quiet, that deep night quiet when even Philadelphia took a breath. He found Evelyn waiting in the living room. She'd fallen asleep on the couch, a book open on her lap, reading glasses perched on her nose. Jack stood there for a moment, looking at her. This woman who'd crashed into his life 4 days ago and somehow become essential. She woke up, saw him. You're back, she said. I'm back. Everyone okay? For now. She stood, walked to him, studied his face. You have blood on your knuckles, she said. Jack looked down. She was right. Small amount, probably from the liver shot he'd given the big kid. Skin split on skin. Occupational hazard. It's not mine, he said. That's not reassuring. Wasn't meant to be. Evelyn took his hand, led him to the kitchen, ran warm water, washed the blood off gently. Her hands were soft, careful, the hands of someone used to taking care of people. Tell me what happened, she said. He told her, about Tyrell and his crew, about the threats, about Harold and Betty, about the plan for tomorrow night. You're going to record Marcus confessing, she asked. That's the idea. And if it doesn't work, then we try something else. Like what? Jack didn't answer. Didn't need to, she knew. Jack, you can't. I can, and I will if it comes to that. You'll go to prison. Maybe, but Harold and Betty will be safe. Evelyn finished washing his hands, dried them with a towel, held them in hers. Delilah, she said. She would have stopped you. Probably. She would have told you this was crazy, dangerous, wrong. Definitely. But she's not here. No, Jack said. She's not. So I'm telling you, Evelyn said, this is crazy, dangerous, wrong, and I'm terrified you're going to get hurt. Jack looked at her, at the tears in her eyes, at the fear and anger and something else, something that looked like care. I can't walk away, he said quietly. I know you want me to. I know it's the smart play, but I can't, because if I walk away now, I'm the same man who stood by in Fallujah and watched that family die. And I can't be that man again. I won't. Evelyn pulled him close, hugged him. Not like a lover. Like family, like someone who'd known him longer than 4 days. Then I'm coming with you tomorrow, she said. Absolutely not. Not negotiable. You're doing this for me, for my building, for my neighbors. I'm not sitting home while you risk your life. Evelyn, not negotiable. Jack sighed, knew when he was beaten. Was fine, but you stay in the truck. You don't come inside. You don't get involved. You're just there in case something goes wrong. Deal. They went to bed, separate rooms, but somehow closer than before. Jack lay in the dark, thought about tomorrow, about all the ways it could go wrong, about Marcus Delgado and Tyrell Banks and the thin line between justice and murder. He thought about Delilah, about the promise he'd made, about how he was about to break it again. The next day crawled. Jack worked in the garage. Evelyn cooked. Neither of them talked much. Words felt thin, inadequate. At 8 p.m., Jack, Tommy, and Ryder met at the building, did a final check of the equipment. Everything worked. Audio clean, video clear. Harold and Betty were ready, nervous, but ready. Evelyn sat in Jack's truck across the street. He'd made her promise to drive away if shooting started. She'd made that promise knowing she wouldn't keep it. 9 p.m., a black Mercedes pulled up. Marcus Delgado got out. He looked nervous, kept checking his surroundings. Brought one guy with him. Muscle, 6'3", built like a linebacker. They went inside. Jack, Tommy, and Ryder watched from Ryder's car, listening through headphones, watching through the camera feed on Ryder's laptop. Marcus entered Betty's apartment. Harold was already there. You got the money? Betty asked, her voice shaky. Perfect. Marcus pulled out a bag. 20,000, cash, like we agreed. And we sign you leave us alone. You sign I forget you exist, Marcus said. He pulled out papers, leases, termination agreements, all legal, all binding. Betty picked up a pen, hesitated. I don't understand this part, she said. About the damages. What damages? Marcus sighed. It's standard. Just sign. But it says we agree to pay for damages to the property. We didn't damage anything. The windows Harold broke, the door that biker broke. My lawyer says you're responsible. But you changed the locks, Harold said. That was illegal. Marcus smiled. Cold. Illegal? Who's going to prove that you two old people with no money and no lawyers sign the papers? Take the money. Get out. Betty's hand shook. What about the others? The 9 people you forced out. Did you pay them too? Marcus's smile faded. What others? The 9 other tenants. The ones you threatened. The ones Tyrell and his friends scared away? Marcus stood. Who told you about that? Nobody had to tell me, Betty said. I was here. I watched you do it. Watched you turn off the heat in winter. Watched you hire those boys to break windows and spray paint threats. Watched you terrorize people who'd lived here longer than you've been alive. Marcus's jaw tightened. You're making accusations you can't prove. Can't I? Betty said. She looked at the smoke detector, straight at the camera. Marcus followed her gaze. Saw it. His face went white. You're recording this, he said. Yes, Betty said. Marcus moved fast, grabbed the papers, grabbed the money bag, headed for the door. Jack was already moving. He came through the apartment door as Marcus reached it. They collided. Marcus stumbled back. Going somewhere? Jack asked. Marcus's muscles stepped forward. Bigger than Jack, younger, stronger. Tommy came through the window, literally, crashed through the already broken glass. Shotgun in hand. The muscle froze. Ryder appeared behind Marcus. Gun drawn, calm. Everybody relax, Ryder said. Marcus looked around, trapped, cornered, calculating. You can't do this, he said. This is kidnapping, assault. I'll have you arrested. With what evidence, Jack said. We're just having a conversation. That recording is illegal, inadmissible. In Pennsylvania, only one party needs to consent to recording, Ryder said. Betty consented, Harold consented. Legal as Sunday church. Marcus's face twisted. You think this matters? You think some recording changes anything? I have lawyers, judges, cops. You have nothing. We have the FBI, Jack said. Marcus laughed. Bullshit. Agent Gerald Hawthorne, Jack said. Retired FBI. Friend of mine. He's been listening to this whole conversation, along with 3 active agents. They're outside right now, waiting. Marcus's laugh died. You're bluffing. Am I? Jack pulled out his phone, hit speaker. A voice came through. Professional, calm. This is Agent Sarah Chen, FBI, Philadelphia Field Office. Marcus Delgado, you're under arrest for violations of the Fair Housing Act conspiracy to commit fraud, extortion, and assault. You have the right to remain silent. Marcus's legs gave out. He sat down hard on Betty's couch. Through the window, Jack saw FBI agents entering the building. 4 of them. Body armor, weapons, the real thing. It was over. They arrested Marcus, arrested his muscle, collected the recording equipment as evidence. Agent Chen, a woman in her 40s with hard eyes and a harder voice, pulled Jack aside. That was stupid, she said. But effective, Jack said. You could have been killed. Could have been, wasn't. Chen shook her head. Hawthorne vouched for you, said you were one of the good ones. I'm not sure I agree. I'm not sure I do either, Jack said. Stay out of trouble, Mr. Brennan. I'll try. She didn't believe him. He didn't either. The FBI took Marcus away. Harold and Betty stood in the hallway, watching, still not quite believing it was over. What happens now? Betty asked. Now you stay, Jack said. You keep your apartments. You live your lives. Marcus goes to trial, probably goes to prison, and you get to keep the home you've had for 40 years. Betty started crying. Harold put his arm around her. Thank you, Harold said, for everything. Semper Fi, Jack said. Semper Fi. Jack walked out. Tommy and Ryder followed. Evelyn was waiting by the truck. She ran to him, hugged him hard enough to hurt his ribs. It's over, she asked. It's over. She pulled back, looked at his face. You okay? Yeah, you. I'm perfect. They drove home, all of them. Jack and Evelyn in the truck. Tommy and Ryder on their Harleys. A convoy of exhausted people who'd done something right in a world that usually rewarded wrong. At Jack's house, they sat on the porch, drinking beer, watching the neighborhood settle into sleep. That was crazy, Tommy said. Completely, Ryder agreed. Worth it, Jack asked. Hell yes, Tommy said. They finished their beers. Tommy and Ryder left. Engines fading into the night. Jack and Evelyn sat alone. What happens now? Evelyn asked. What do you mean? With us? I can go back to my apartment now. Marcus is gone. I'm safe. Jack hadn't thought about that, about Evelyn leaving, about the house being empty again, about going back to the way things were. You could, he said, if you want. Do you want me to? Jack looked at her. Really looked. At this woman who'd been in his life less than a week, who felt like she'd been there forever. No, he said. I don't. Evelyn smiled. Good, because I don't want to leave. You sure I'm not easy to live with? Ask Delilah. Can't. She's dead. Fair point. They sat in comfortable silence. Two old people on a porch. Two survivors who'd found each other in the wreckage of their lives. Jack, Evelyn said. Yeah, thank you. For everything. For helping me. For helping Harold and Betty. For being the kind of man who doesn't look away. I didn't do it alone. No, but you started it. You saw me fall and you didn't keep walking. That's rare. Maybe the rarest thing there is. Jack didn't know what to say to that, so he didn't say anything. They went inside, to separate rooms, but somehow together anyway. Jack lay in bed, looked at Delilah's photo on the nightstand. I hope you understand, he whispered. I had to help them. I couldn't walk away. Not this time. The photo didn't answer. But Jack thought maybe, just maybe, Delilah was smiling. He fell asleep, dreamless. The first dreamless sleep he'd had in 12 years. In the guest room, Evelyn did the same. And in a small red brick house on a narrow street in South Philadelphia, two old people who thought their stories were over discovered they'd just written a new chapter. One where loneliness lost, where justice won, where three Hells Angels and two old Marines proved that age was just a number, and courage was forever.